In this video, we see a wholesome moment where the mayor of Massaua is handing out food to the community. However, a dark shadow was lurking in the crowd.
La inauguración del árbol navideño se queda en la música hasta que el cuerpo aguante.
Look closely at the red arrow. A man tries to shoot the mayor, but the firearm jammed at the last second. It is a miracle he survived that day, but the story ends in tragedy. Just a few days later, the mayor was indeed assassinated. The Grand Canyon stands as a massive, breathtaking landmark in the heart of Arizona. Every year, millions of travelers arrive to soak in the views and take photos. However, the search for a perfect social media post often leads people to make reckless choices.
That's why everybody's sitting over there. They don't want to take a picture.
And then you fall and then somebody gets hurt. That's why you don't go down there. That's why there's no trail down there. Oh my god.
Where's he at?
They fell down
and fell off cliff.
In this 2020 footage, we learn about a 59-year-old woman who was exploring the rim. She moved toward the ledge to snap a picture, but she lost her footing and tumbled hundreds of feet down the rocky cliffs. I feel terrible that a family trip ended in such a gruesome tragedy. After seeing that, I looked for more footage and found this video of a man balancing on a thin piece of rock over the abyss. He is risking his entire life just for a dramatic pose.
He should come back. Is there anybody that would see?
Oh, do not have to get out though. I'm good. Okay. I have to get back up though. That's the issue. Climbing that rock.
Just going back, man.
Just come back.
Oh yeah, I'll come back sometime. Oh, this is fucking beautiful.
It is, but...
Hey, no native cries, girl.
Oh shit, is he okay? Wait. Dude. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh shit, man.
No,
Don't look.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We told him to come back up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We need to call. You have your phone. Get your phone.
Helicopter is out. Here.
Give me a call. Oh my gosh.
Dumbass.
Oh my god. Baby girl.
Just move back here.
Oh my gosh.
Is this ever happened before?
He's not moving, huh? He's not moving. Hello? Hello?
I don't know.
Suddenly, his shoes lose their grip and he slides toward a second, much steeper drop. For a horrifying moment, it looks like he is going to vanish forever. Miraculously, he stopped his momentum. He lay there in the dirt, covered in ash and looking barely human. People watching from the nearby observation deck were convinced he was dead and called for a medical helicopter. That fast response likely kept him alive. Reports say he walked away with only minor bruising. Nature is a beautiful thing, but it has no mercy for human error. One small mistake is all it takes for the earth to claim you. This is why I never like standing anywhere near a ledge. Even if there is a fence, it is baffling that people gamble with their lives for a digital image. You have to ask yourself if that one shot is really worth a closed casket. Obviously, the answer is no. I feel for the rescuers who have to risk their own lives to save people who ignore the rules. In this video, a heavy trolley bus pole suddenly flew off its line and smashed into a car. It did not just crack the glass, it broke through the windshield entirely. It somehow missed the driver by inches. I'm so glad that person escaped without being struck or wounded. This incident started on October 28, 2019 on the frozen slopes of Mount Fuji. A live broadcast recorded the final moments of a man who would never make it back down. The person filming was Tetsu Shohara. He was 47 and had spent a long time sharing his life with people on the internet. His videos were usually simple, but he eventually became obsessed with high-altitude climbing. He had reached the top of Mount Fuji many times during the summer when the trails were open. In local legends, Mount Fuji is a spiritual place protected by a guardian named Sakya. Many people believe the mountain itself can warn climbers to stay away. During the winter, the mountain becomes a death trap. The trails are closed, the ground turns to slick ice, and the wind can blow a person right off the ridge. Only professional climbers with heavy gear are allowed to be there. In October 2019, a person in his chat mentioned wanting to see the snow on the peak. Tetsu didn't seem to have a plan, but a few weeks later he showed up at the mountain. He ignored every warning sign that said the Yoshida Trail was closed. His gear was a disaster. He was wearing light clothes that couldn't stop the cold. He had no helmet, no ice axe, and no spikes for his boots. He didn't even have a flashlight or extra food. All he had was a bottle of tea and his phone on a stick. As he climbed into the clouds, the snow got deeper. He admitted on camera that his hands were freezing and that he was ill-prepared, but he wouldn't turn back. By the afternoon, he was high up on the slippery slopes where the sun was starting to fade. The ground was like glass and the wind was picking up speed. Without an ice axe to dig into the ground, a single slip would be fatal. Despite the danger, he kept moving higher. During the stream, a very strange noise was picked up by the microphone. Under the sound of the howling wind, a faint whispering voice seemed to speak. People who watched the video later say it sounded like the word "anade," which is a warning to not come. I feel a deep sense of unease when I hear that part of the audio. Was it a spirit or just the wind? A few moments later, Tetsu lost his footing. He began to slide at a terrifying speed. The camera fell and the stream cut to black. Because he had no way to stop himself, he slid over 700 meters down the mountain. People watching the stream live called for help, but the weather was too bad for a rescue team to go up. 2 days later, they found his body far below. It took 2 weeks to officially identify him. The video of his fall led to many arguments online about safety. The facts are simple. He ignored the closures, the weather, and his own lack of gear. What was supposed to be a fun challenge ended in a horrific death. Mount Fuji is a beautiful place, but it has no heart for those who don't respect it. This is why I never like the idea of ignoring expert warnings just for a bit of online attention. Nature is more powerful than any live stream. I feel terrible for the youngsters who might have stumbled across that video while it was happening live. It is a somber reminder to always respect the power of the mountain. Stay far back from the edge of canyons, even if there are no warning signs. Always wear a safety harness when performing any task at a high altitude. Check with local rangers about trail conditions before you start a hike. Never attempt to climb a mountain in winter without professional ice gear. Ensure every youngster understands that warning signs are there to save lives. Imagine this, you're at home at night and things are calm and peaceful. It's your home, so it should feel cozy and safe. Now imagine that peace getting shattered in an instant. That is what happened to some residents of Merritt Island, Florida. A man named Charles Reed Knight III decided to attack multiple houses using an axe and a pitchfork in the middle of the night. It is a terrifying thought. The residents thought their ordeal had ended, but it might be starting again because reports suggest he may get out on bond. This is why I never like the idea of living without a security system. It's very concerning for the families involved. This footage was captured by a helmet camera during a skydiving trip in Russia. In this video, you see a man jump from an airplane, but things go wrong at a high altitude. He collided with another skydiver and lost consciousness at roughly 11,400 feet. He was falling toward the earth while completely blacked out. cannot imagine the terror of that situation, though he likely didn't feel the descent. Thankfully, he had an insurance device that sensed the speed. It automatically deployed his parachute at 900 feet. That small machine is the only reason he's still alive today. It was a very close call. There is something hauntingly beautiful about a thin wire stretched across the sky. There is no safety net below and absolutely zero room for error. It is just a man against the wind with nothing but empty air under his boots. For most of us, this is a total nightmare, but for some, it is their only passion.
一阵惊呼，因为刚才来了一阵风在抖。
没关系，
这个钢丝那么弯，没问题吗，团长？
完全没问题。
没问题吗？
他现在向上走，好一点。
哦，
因为他走到
我们可以看到平衡腕已经300梯。
哦，
天哪，300梯！天哪，300梯！这一幕我们真的没有料到，但是的确
说明这个难度大。
加油，300梯！李团长
啊，
，300梯啊！
他想骑上那个钢丝。
现在的确，因为眼看着快抵达，太可惜了，即将挑战成功。
In this video, a man in China is saved only because his safety tether held firm during a slip. Without that cord, he would be gone. Yet some performers want even more danger. They choose to walk across these wires while wearing blindfolds or moving in reverse at massive heights.
刚才在事前我们跟各位介绍呢，埃斯卡尔的今天的这个是在无保护状态的。那么大家看得到它上面是有这个保，只能在它掉下钢丝的那一瞬间抓住钢丝才能够起来。好，现在呢蒙眼盗走钢丝极限挑战的直播。那么我们这场直播活动呢是有
看到它已经非常的晃动，它又坐下来调整。
到目前为止已经休息了有3到4次，3、4次的时间了。对于我们常人真的是无法想象，我们无法想象。但埃斯卡尔到目前为止，他到目前为止他仍然做到。好，他继续启程。
挑战活动当中可以观察出来。
喂，哎，哎。
In China, an acrobat tried to cross a 700-meter span while walking backwards and unable to see. He slipped and fell. For a second, the crowd went silent. Somehow, he survived the drop with only basic scrapes. He was incredibly lucky to walk away from that. This security camera footage comes from an auto parts store on Branko Radic Street in Serbia. In this video, the workers are just relaxing behind the counter because the shop is empty. I know it's a parts store, but this is definitely not a drive-thru. It is baffling how often we see people lose control and drive straight into buildings. I feel for those workers who were almost struck while just trying to have a quiet shift. It's a chaotic scene that happened in a quick flash. In this video from a Houston gas station on Christmas morning 2025, we see a father's life fall apart in a few quick seconds. Jonathan Ross Maida and his wife received frantic calls from their 19-year-old daughter. She claimed her boyfriend had assaulted her and she needed help. The parents believed their young one was being held against her will and was in serious danger. They drove out in a state of pure panic to find her as fast as possible. Initially, they waited at a Shell gas station on Bel Air Boulevard where they thought she would be dropped off. A gray Honda Pilot pulled into the station with a woman inside. In their state of fear, the parents convinced themselves this was the car holding their daughter. Maida's wife ran toward the Honda and tried to pull open the door while shouting. I feel terrible for the driver of that car because he was just a stranger caught in someone else's nightmare. This is why I always try to take a deep breath and verify the facts before acting on high emotions. Inside the Honda was 25-year-old Desmond Butler, who had only stopped for gas with a friend. He had no connection to the family and began to pull away. Jonathan Maida stepped out of his SUV and fired 2 times at the fleeing vehicle. Desmond Butler was struck in the back of the head. The Honda lost control and crashed into a pole nearby. When the parents ran to the wreck and looked inside, they realized their daughter was not there. The man inside was a complete stranger who was now dying because of a terrible mistake. Surveillance footage captured Maida saying they were looking for their kidnapped daughter before he left the scene without calling for help. Desmond Butler was pronounced dead at the hospital. 3 weeks later, Maida turned himself in and was charged with murder. Investigators later confirmed there was no kidnapping and their young one was safe elsewhere. It is a somber reminder that acting on fear without certainty can lead to irreversible loss. Even in states with strong self-defense laws, shooting at a vehicle that is driving away is almost impossible to justify. A quick decision made in anger or panic can end a life and destroy a family forever. How do we balance the urge to protect a young one with the responsibility to stay within the law? Every youngster deserves to be safe, but that safety shouldn't come at the cost of an innocent life. Home and family safety tips. Always try to get a specific location or a photo of a young one calls saying they are in trouble. Use a phone tracking app so you can see exactly where your youngster is located in a quick moment. If you suspect a kidnapping, call 911 immediately rather than trying to handle it yourself. The moment a rocket-propelled grenade or RPG was thrown in an attempt to kill a mayor in the Philippines on January 25th is captured in wild CCTV footage. In another video, Mayor Ahmad Ampatuan's black SUV was seen getting hit. Fortunately, the vehicle managed to escape. The mayor was unharmed, but 2 of his security personnel were hurt, according to the local authorities. In this video from September 17, 2020, we see the tragic turning point in the life of 19-year-old Angel Lin. Angel was a high-spirited youngster from Loughborough with dreams of becoming a forensic scientist. She was in a relationship with Che Boskill, which had gradually shifted into a nightmare of coercive control. Boskill had begun to monitor her phone, restrict her contact with friends, and demand money. Initially, Angel tried to walk away from the relationship after a heated argument. However, as she attempted to leave, Boskill grabbed her in broad daylight on a public street. In this video, you can see him use a quick motion to force her into a van driven by his friend, Rocco Sansom. Angel is clearly distressed and struggling as she is pushed inside. I feel terrible for Angel because no young one should ever be trapped in such a terrifying and controlling environment. This is why I always tell my friends to look out for the subtle signs of isolation in any relationship. The van sped off along the A6 at nearly 60 miles per hour. Moments later, Angel fell from the moving vehicle and struck the road headfirst. The impact was catastrophic, causing severe brain injuries. While it remains unclear if she was pushed or trying to escape a kidnapping, the results were life-altering. Angel remained in a coma for weeks, and when she woke up, she was unable to walk, talk, or eat on her own. It is a somber reminder of how quickly casually dating can turn into a deadly situation. Over 3 years, Angel has made meaningful progress, including standing with support and speaking her first word, Mom.
Felt like someone had ripped my heart out. When you hear the phrase heartbroken, that's when I thought that's just not a phrase. I was absolutely heartbroken. It actually aches. Your heart it's horrible.
Boskill was found guilty of kidnapping and coercive control, and his sentence was eventually increased to 12 years on appeal. Sansom was also convicted and received 21 months in prison. Every youngster deserves to live a life free from fear and domestic abuse. What can we do as a community to better spot the warning signs of coercive control? It is a heartbreaking story, but Angel's slow recovery is a testament to her incredible strength. I hope her progress continues, so she can one day find a sense of peace after such a violent ordeal. In this video, you can see a truly vile scene that unfolded on a Sunday night at Bogota's El Dorado International Airport in Colombia. The footage captures a man named Hector Santa Cruz as he walks up to a woman named Claudia Segura. While he was away, Segura had apparently taken a seat next to the wife of Santa Cruz. Initially, the terminal looks like any other busy travel hub, but things turn dark in a quick moment when Santa Cruz demands that Segura give up the seat. He becomes irate when she refuses to move. I feel terrible for Claudia because no one should be physically attacked for simply sitting in a chair. This is why I always try to stay very aware of the tempers of people around me in crowded places. Santa Cruz is seen leaning over the woman and using a swift motion to slap her directly in the face. After she is struck, a massive brawl breaks out in the middle of the terminal. Bystanders immediately rush to her defense to stop the aggressive man. It is shocking to see such violence in a place where people are just trying to get home. The tension in the room is high as security tries to gain control of the situation. If a youngster had been nearby, they could have easily been wounded in the chaos of the fighting. It is a somber reminder that some people have no regard for the safety of any young one who might be watching. What would you do if you saw a woman being attacked like this in public? It is inspiring to see people stand up for a stranger, but the entire situation is incredibly dark. I hope that Hector Santa Cruz faced serious consequences for his actions that night. This shocking event took place at the MGM Lion Habitat in Las Vegas. In this video, you can see visitors gathering around the thick glass, hoping to get a close look at these powerful predators. The lions usually look calm and peaceful as they lounge in their artificial home. However, the crowd was about to witness something terrifying that nobody expected. In just a few seconds, the entire mood of the room shifts into pure panic. A professional handler is inside the enclosure, performing a routine he has likely done many times before, but this time the apex predator's instincts take over. Without any warning, one of the lions lunges forward and locks its massive jaws onto the handler's leg. You can hear the panicked screams of the youngsters and adults behind the glass as they watch the struggle. Other staff members have to rush in at a quick pace to help. Fortunately, the man managed to escape the grip, reportedly leaving with only minor wounds that required stitches. I feel terrible for the people who had to watch this, especially the youngsters who were just looking for a fun day out. This is why I never like the idea of being in the same room as a creature that can overpower me in a heartbeat. It is a somber reminder that you can never truly tame a wild animal. They are exactly that, wild. It makes me wonder if these majestic creatures should be kept in cages for our entertainment at all. Here are some safety tips. Never tap on the glass or try to get the attention of a predator in an enclosure. If you're at a zoo, ensure every youngster stays behind the safety barriers at all times. Respect the space of wild animals and never attempt to feed them or touch them. If you see an animal acting aggressively, move away with a swift motion and alert staff. Teach every young one that even tame animals can have unpredictable natural instincts. Always follow the instructions of zoo handlers and stay in designated viewing areas. In this video from November 30th, 2025 in Brazil, a celebration turns into a disaster.
Deu bosta! Deu bosta! Deu bosta!
a fireworks display malfunction, causing injuries to several people in the crowd. The weirdest part is that the local military firefighters were reportedly dressed up as Santa Claus for the event. Because of their heavy costumes, they could not move with a swift pace to help the victims immediately. I don't even know what to say about that choice. It is a somber reminder that safety should always come before a holiday costume. I hope those youngsters are okay. In this video from the New Jersey State Police, we see an officer conducting a routine traffic stop on the 13th of April 2023. Roadside procedures are being followed and everything seems perfectly normal. However, an ordinary day was turned on its head when a Ford traveling eastbound suddenly collided with a marked police vehicle. This triggered a terrifying multi-vehicle crash that also involved the person who was originally stopped.
Are you okay? We got an overturned vehicle. I'm gonna need another troop.
Both officers were struck and injured, but thankfully they did not suffer life-threatening wounds. I feel terrible that these men were put in danger while just trying to keep the road safe. It is a somber reminder how quickly a calm afternoon can turn into catastrophe. This video comes out of Russia, and it shows an incident that's hard to describe as anything other than reckless. That might sound blunt, but give it a moment and you'll probably agree.
Охуеть, Вась! А я
What starts as a burning vehicle on the side of the road quickly turns into something far more dangerous. Instead of getting away, people nearby decide to pull out their phones and start recording. It's a strange but familiar reaction. Everyone knows cars can explode when they're on fire, but what happens here is far more violent than most would expect. The blast erupts suddenly, sending debris flying and turning a bad situation into a potentially deadly one. The reason for the explosion is likely what the vehicle was carrying. In cases like this, it's often a gas cylinder inside the car, something that dramatically increases the risk once flames are involved. Incidents like this aren't isolated either. Similar explosions have been reported many times, serving as a harsh reminder that standing close to a burning vehicle can be a fatal mistake. This clip is very weird, not because of what you see, but because of the sounds.
So we all just got woken up to some disturbing sound all through the whole area. I just called 911 and they said they've gotten like over 50 calls about it.
People who watched this video reported hearing noises that sound like heavy industrial drills or even distant firearms. Many others in the area claimed they heard the exact same thing at the same time. I have no idea how to explain these sounds, and it's honestly quite unsettling to listen to. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. What do you think is making that noise? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. On July 10, 2025, a home security system in a peaceful neighborhood was triggered after sensing movement in the living room. These cameras are built to record only when they perceive a physical presence. The issue was that the owner was out of the house and no other humans were present. His dog was the only living thing inside. When the notification popped up on his phone, he didn't think twice and bypassed the alert. He had no clue that this motion-activated video would capture a moment so disturbing that it would permanently alter his pet's behavior. In this footage, you can see the dog suddenly freeze and stare at a specific spot where nothing is visible to the human eye. His muscles tense up and his ears twitch as if he is listening to a stranger. A second later, a shocking event occurs that left the owner truly horrified. The dog's collar is suddenly pulled off his neck by a swift and invisible force. Some might argue the dog simply wiggled out of it, but the owner says that explanation is impossible. This was a heavy-duty collar designed with a special clip that requires a person to press it to release. It had stayed secure for years without ever slipping. I feel terrible for this youngster of a dog because he has been acting terrified ever since this happened. He is now jumpy and refuses to step foot in that living room. This is why I always feel a bit of unease leaving my pets alone in a big house. While there might be a logical reason, it really looks like an unseen hand reached out and snatched the collar. It is a somber and haunting mystery that makes you wonder what was lurking in the dark. The footage starts with someone taking aim. It's an odd way to begin a video, but you should probably expect it to get much weirder and crazier.
Jordan, pause there. Cat, Cobra Cat, Cobra Cat. Saat خوش. Saat خوش. Saat خوش.
What you just saw was a Kurdish guerrilla fighter shooting down a Turkish Cobra helicopter from a very significant range. Some people have called this one of the most incredible shots ever recorded on camera. It looks completely effortless, which is genuinely insane to witness. War is a terrible reality, and the pilot of that helicopter likely did not survive the impact. I never like seeing such violence as it reminds us how fragile life is in a conflict zone. It's truly chilling to watch that machine fall out of the sky. This next sequence is made up of a few different clips stitched together, all tied to one tragic event. On April 10, 2025, a Bell 206L4 helicopter flies over the Hudson River area near Jersey City, New Jersey. On board is a family from Spain, along with the CEO of the Spanish division of Seaman. What starts as a transfer flight becomes their final journey. In the footage, you can see the helicopter moving in a way that instantly feels wrong. Instead of smooth, controlled motion, it jerks, tilts, and shifts in a way that no normal flight should. Helicopters do not behave like that unless something has gone seriously wrong. Then midair, the aircraft begins to break apart. Pieces separate, the structure fails, and there is nothing anyone on board can do. The helicopter crashes into the Hudson River. There is no miracle ending here. No, everyone walked away. Every single person on board loses their life. The CEO, his family, everyone who trusted that flight to get them safely to their destination. The clips show the terrifying final moments, but they also serve as a stark reminder. When something fails at that height, there is often no second chance. On the morning of December 3rd, 2018, 62-year-old Mayan Hatcher woke up in her home in St. Augustine, Florida, feeling unusually unwell. She lived a quiet, peaceful life and spent most of her time with her two rescue dogs, Bella and Sadie. The two were deeply bonded to her and rarely left her side. Normally, Mayan would have brushed off feeling a little off and gone about her day, but this morning felt different. As the hours passed, her condition worsened rapidly, and whatever was happening inside her body was moving fast. Around 11 a.m., Mayan collapsed in her bathroom. She fell hard to the floor and instantly lost control of the left side of her body. She couldn't stand, she couldn't speak, she could barely make a sound. Mayan was suffering an ischemic stroke caused by a blood clot cutting off oxygen to the right side of her brain. Trapped on the floor, she was unable to reach her phone or get to the door. Minutes turned into hours and she lay there helpless. She wasn't completely alone. Her dogs heard her fall. At some point, Sadie entered the bathroom and began sniffing her face. With everything she had left, Man forced out the only word she could manage: "Mommy needs help." Somehow the dogs understood. The front door to the house had an automatic lock, something the dogs normally couldn't open, but that day it hadn't latched properly. Both dogs escaped and ran into the neighborhood, barking frantically and non-stop. Around 2 p.m., a neighbor named Alexandra heard urgent, aggressive barking at her back door. When she opened it, Bella stood there in visible distress. Instinctively knowing something was wrong, Alexandra grabbed a leash and followed Bella across the street. They reached Man's house where the front door was standing open. Sadie was still barking and pacing inside. Alexandra stepped in and found Man collapsed on the bathroom floor. She immediately called 911. Paramedics arrived within minutes. As they carried Man out on a stretcher, Alexandra lifted both dogs so they could see her one last time before the ambulance doors closed. Under normal circumstances, 7 hours without treatment would have resulted in permanent brain damage or death, but Man was rushed to one of Florida's only comprehensive stroke centers. There, an interventional neurologist performed a cutting-edge thrombectomy, threading a catheter through an artery and physically removing the clot from her brain. Within hours, Man was speaking clearly to her family. 3 days later, she walked out of the hospital with no lasting damage. Her case became medically significant, showing that advanced stroke treatments could work far beyond the traditional window. But none of that would have mattered if 2 dogs hadn't understood their owner's plea, escaped a locked home, and led a stranger directly to her side. Man later said it simply: she wouldn't be alive without them. In this video, you can see that it is raining outside. It seems like the perfect weather to drive carefully, but instead we see something baffling.
ยากมอไซค์
เข้าใจนะมันโอ้โหเขาไปอยู่กลางเลนเลย
3 เลนกับเลน 2 ช่วยด้วย ช่วยด้วย เฮ้ยสามีโทรหา166
I really cannot figure out how this happened, but I do have a few theories. Either the car simply hit the middle barrier and flipped, which seems like the most logical answer, or an accident on the other side of the road caused the vehicle to fly over. Regardless of the cause, imagine just driving along and seeing an entire car come barreling right at you from the opposite lane. It's a horrifying scenario that happened so fast. I feel terrible for anyone caught in that path. It is a somber reminder to always stay alert. This CCTV footage comes from a workshop in Hebron and shows a man calmly painting a car, going about what looks like a completely routine task. Nothing seems out of place at first, and there is no obvious sign that anything is about to go wrong. Then, without warning, everything changes. An explosion tears through the workshop, violent and sudden, leaving behind destruction that's hard to explain. Incidents like explosions are new to this channel, but this one stands out because there's no clear cause. No sparks, no visible mistake, just a normal moment turning catastrophic in an instant. What makes this footage even more unsettling is how close it came to ending very differently. Just seconds before the blast, the man steps out of the room. Had he stayed even a moment longer, the outcome could have been fatal. It's a chilling reminder how unpredictable and unforgiving accidents like this can be, and how thin the line is between routine work and disaster. In this video from December 8th, 2025, we see the power of nature in Hokkaido, Japan. A massive magnitude 7.5 earthquake hit the region, causing total chaos.
まだ揺れてる。やばいやばい。これ震度6強とか7いってるよ。
好久哦。
While no one was killed, over 30 people were wounded by falling objects. The most terrifying part is the official advisory warning that an even more powerful tremor could be coming soon. I feel terrible for the residents who have to live in fear of a megaquake. This is why I always respect the strength of the earth. It is a very somber situation for everyone in the area right now. A sanctuary is supposed to be the one place where you're safe from the evils of the world, but for a 72-year-old woman at St. Cecilia's Cathedral, the house of God became the site of a brutal ambush. Surveillance footage captures the woman walking calmly through the church doors in broad daylight, pausing for just a moment to pick up a pamphlet. She is completely unaware of the two predators who had been trailing her from the sidewalk. Without warning, she is blindsided. As one man lunges for her purse, the other delivers a violent blow to her face, sending her crashing into a wooden table. The impact gashes her head open before she hits the floor, leaving her bleeding and dazed as the attackers sprint back out into the street. The sheer coldness of the act, targeting a grandmother during a moment of quiet reflection, has left the entire parish in shock.
Of course, it's shocking, and because we really have not had anything like that here, at least in 10 years. And so, obviously, we prayed for her the next two masses, and so the parishioners are now concerned, is it safe? Should I be in the church? And we tried to assure them that this is a safe place, and this was just something completely out of the blue.
It serves as a haunting reminder that even within the most sacred walls, there are those who see a place of prayer as nothing more than a place to hunt. We are back in Georgia watching a high-speed chase from the dashboard of a GSP patrol car. Things are about to get very dangerous, but you need to listen to what the officer says during the pursuit. He realizes there is still a young one in the back seat of the fleeing car.
813 Atlanta, 813 Atlanta, 1080. I got them. When I tried to stop him at a stoplight at low speeds, he still got the child in the back seat.
Just be pit, just be pit. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Get the out the car. Get the open the door. Open the door.
So you're trying to kill us. You're trying to kill us. Oh my gosh, yes, you're trying to kill us. Oh my gosh, you're trying to kill me. Why would y'all do that, man?
Get up.
Please don't. Don't beat me up, man. Listen, don't get on that. Y'all trying to kill me. Don't fight me, man.
Get on the ground.
Don't fight me. Stop. Don't fight me. He don't stop trying to fight me. He don't stop trying to fight me.
See, come here. I can show you where she's at. I can show you.
A criminal had stolen the vehicle with a 9-year-old boy trapped inside. Even with a youngster on board, the suspect refused to pull over. The officer eventually made the swift decision to pit the car to end the danger. The boy's mother had called 911 in a total panic and was finally reunited with her son once the man was in handcuffs. I'm gonna let you judge if the police made the right call here. This is why I never leave my engine running at a gas station. This footage was captured at the gas station in Doska, Pakistan, and from the very first moment, it's clear this isn't an ordinary day. The sky is dark, the air feels heavy, and the scene already carries an unsettling sense that something is about to go wrong. In May of 2025, powerful winds swept through the city, and the force of the storm was so intense that it tore the roof clean off this gas station. The structure lifts and twists as if it weighs nothing, creating a scene that feels almost unreal. Combined with a stormy atmosphere, the moment looks more like something out of a disaster film than real life. Unfortunately, little additional information is available. It's unclear what other damage the storm caused across the area or whether anyone was injured elsewhere. What is certain is that this clip captures just how violent and unpredictable extreme weather can be, especially when it strikes without warning. This happened in Kamchatka, Russia, a place known for having many fish and even more bears. In this video, we see a massive bear approaching a group of fishermen.
Потом Леха скинешь мне, понял? А ты мне перекинешь. Обязательно. Сними-ка его мне до пояса. Я это точно не увижу. Куда пошел? Вот так вот. Вот где такое увидишь? Обалдеть.
This is probably the most polite bear I've ever seen. He walks up, takes a single fish, and walks away without bothering a single person. The fishermen were smart to just let him do his thing. I would have been terrified to be that close to a wild predator. It is a rare moment of peace between humans and nature. What do you make of this polite visitor? In this video by Mysterious Hook, we witness a minor dispute over a single dollar that spiraled into a chaotic scene at a gas station in Kewanee, Illinois. In January 2026, three women, Diamond Lockhart, Kiana Simpson, and Nikita Simpson, became embroiled in a confrontation with store staff over a small extra charge for a pizza. Initially, the argument was about the store's refusal to refund a $12 pizza that had already been prepared. Officers arrived to mediate the civil dispute, advising the group to leave if they were unhappy with the policy. However, tensions rose quickly and the situation turned physical when one of the women allegedly shoved an officer. This triggered a swift series of arrests as the women resisted being taken into custody.
So where we're at here.
Is y'all gonna give me my 12? That don't make no sense.
So do you want your pizza?
I don't want the pizza. Why would you want the pizza if they like?
Okay. So you can file a civil suit against them for $12.
$12?
I'm saying that's it. It's a civil situation.
Well, back up here.
Said that she could have the pizza.
No, she can't have the pizza.
It gotta be something. Either motherfucker better get that motherfucker $12 to my sister, or it's gonna be that.
You charge somebody a certain price. You tell me that the pizza is $11.99, $12. You don't tell me about no charge fee. I tell you it's gonna be ready in 20 minutes. Come back in 20 minutes. You owe me $1.
Yo, man, so him trying to get over.
You gonna pay the extra $1 if somebody told you they owe you extra $1.
This is all over $1.
Are you want to pay the extra $1? Are you want to pay the extra $1?
Yeah, it's $1.
What?
It's not even about $1.
It don't even matter.
It don't matter about the $1. I want
it don't even matter.
Why you lying? It's the fact that she lied. Why? It's the fact that she lied. That's the lying.
You know, if motherfucker would have asked you for $1, you know you would have paid that motherfucker $1, right? Out of here. Goofy ass, old ass. Out of here.
Do you want them to leave?
Yes, please and thank you.
All right. I'm gonna ask them if they want their pizza.
That's the lie. It's a lie.
Touch me.
Get back. Hey, bro.
Stop touching me. Let me go. Hurry up, get my stuff. Hurry up, get my stuff.
Stay back right now.
Get my stuff. Touching on me. Y'all need to take these handcuffs out.
Walk to that car. No.
Call my lawyer.
Walk to that car.
I'm not taking him.
You can call your lawyer.
Call my lawyer. Make sure they know.
Walk to the car right now.
I'm in the middle of an injury lawsuit.
Yeah. Come on. Q7. Anybody else can slow down?
Get all their names.
Sit down in the car.
Get in the car. I am in the car. His name is Kingdom.
Sit down. You're gonna get
His name is Briar. His name is Garney.
Name will be on your heads.
Kingdom Briar.
Step back. You can record just back there, okay?
Get him. Get him. He pushed me.
Get in the car. Yes, you are. We're telling you right now, you are. For criminal damage to property.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Do not. Take your liquor out right now. Take your liquor. Now, take your liquor.
Hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
You stepping on my glass.
Put your fucking hands behind your back.
Can I have my glasses?
Yes, ma'am. We'll get your glasses.
Without my glasses.
We'll get your glasses. Second pair.
Throwing the out of y'all.
We're gonna help you get up, okay?
Don't touch me. I do it myself. Don't touch me.
We're gonna help you get up.
I don't want you to touch me. Don't touch me.
Get up. No.
That's a felony. I just got off that shit.
Police cuff.
Can she get up?
During the struggle, a merchandise display was knocked over, leading to additional charges of property damage. How can a single dollar be worth a criminal record and a night in jail? Do you think the store should have just waived the fee to avoid the conflict? I never liked the idea how pride can cause people to make choices that will haunt them for years. This video isn't necessarily disturbing, but I couldn't help but share it. Did this guy lose his fantasy football league and this was the punishment? What the hell is going on here? At Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, the mundane hum of travel was shattered by a sudden chilling command. Everybody freeze, breach. A man identified as 40-year-old Leon Fabian had suddenly bum-rushed the security area, attempting a mad dash through the checkpoint. Surveillance footage captured the frantic moment as he shoved aside an elderly gentleman, charging toward the secure side of the terminal with unknown intentions. For the traveler standing in line, the sight of the man bypassed the TSA, and sprinting toward them was a sudden, jarring glimpse of chaos. Fortunately, a fellow passenger named Mark Thomas was standing directly in the suspect's path as Fabian tried to push past. Thomas, a former athlete with a background in wrestling, reacted instinctively, lifting the intruder and body slamming him onto the hard airport floor.
I put myself on the belt, was waiting to go through the x-ray machine, and the lady very calmly and casually said, "Everybody freeze, breach." Once he pushed the older gentleman over, I knew that it was kind of one of those moments where I was like, all right, this is happening. He's going to be coming right by me. I'm already here, so I might as well try to do something. He was like, I'm okay. Just let me up.
Thomas pinned the man down until security could arrive to handcuff him, ending a high-stakes security breach that could have ended in a far more sinister way. It serves as a stark reminder that in a place as highly controlled as an airport, terror can still be just one desperate sprint away. A man is filming his surroundings, but there is a massive problem that becomes clear very quickly. Imagine you're leading a safari tour and you suddenly find yourself in a silent standoff with a wild lion only inches from your face. I'm absolutely stunned by how quiet and still everyone remained during the encounter. The lion simply looked at them and did not strike, which is a miracle. This is easily one of the most intense things I've seen all week. I feel terrible just thinking about the adrenaline and fear those people were suppressed by. This is why I never liked the idea of being that close to a predator without a cage. It is a somber situation that could have turned into tragedy in a quick moment. This video was taken by a CCTV camera on November 7, 2025. It comes from a little town in the Irkut Oblast in Russia. It's snowing outside. The slick surface caused a bus carrying factory workers to lose control, veering off course and hitting a power line in the middle of a crowd. Nevertheless, they all miraculously avoided being harmed by the electrical wires as well as the bus. In this video, a man named Nick is caring for his grandmother who is in declining health. She suffers from Alzheimer's. a condition that has slowly changed the way she interacts with the world around her. On most days, Nick has learned how to navigate her routines and behaviors, even the unsettling ones. Sometimes she will stop in place and stare at something that isn't there, reacting as if she's seeing or hearing things no one else can. It's something Nick has grown used to, even if it still makes him uncomfortable. But one night, something happens that he can't explain away so easily. Nick is recording his grandmother during one of these moments when she's standing silently facing the kitchen. She isn't speaking. She's just there, frozen, her attention fixed on something unseen. As he films, the atmosphere feels heavy and tense, even through the screen. Then without warning, the camera captures something strange. An object that had been sitting on top of the refrigerator suddenly falls. There's no loud bang, no obvious cause, it simply tips over and drops as if pushed. Nick says what makes this moment especially unsettling is what happens just before it falls. His grandmother's dog, who had been calm, suddenly begins to growl. Not bark, not whine, a low defensive growl aimed directly toward the kitchen. Nick insists this wasn't just coincidence. When he reviews the footage, he explains that the item hadn't been close to the edge of the fridge. It had been sitting far back, stable, untouched for a long time. If that's true, then gravity alone doesn't seem like a good explanation. There was no vibration, no one bumped the appliance, no door slammed, and yet it fell.
So this is in response to last night. My grandma loves to collect little figurines. One of my grandma's little angels fell off the fridge last night. You see how far back they are? Genuinely.
As if that weren't strange enough, Nick notices something else when he replays the video multiple times.
I'm a bit in disbelief. No, I'm pretty sure it's just a plug-in charger. I brought my girlfriend Claire here so she can help demonstrate. But can you try to step in front of that? And so it just does that. Move away. So that comment says that the Roomba doesn't do that unless someone's in front of it. My question is, like, he's kind of creepy with a smiley face and everything. Even when it gets to the edge, it does that.
In the background, a Roomba vacuum can be seen moving back and forth in the kitchen, but it isn't moving randomly the way robotic vacuums usually do. Instead, it keeps repeating the same short motion, stopping and turning as if something invisible is blocking its path. It behaves as though there's an obstacle directly in front of it. Even though the floor is completely clear, Nick starts to wonder if the Roomba might be reacting to something it can't see but somehow detect. From that moment on, Nick says the kitchen no longer feels normal to him. Unfortunately, that's easier said than avoided. The kitchen is the only room in the house with a television, which means Nick spends most of his evenings there, sitting alone, watching TV, trying not to think about what he's seen, but the house doesn't let him forget.
So, I was watching my show, and after last night, I'm definitely not leaving these lights on. But I was watching my show, and there's nothing there.
One night, while Nick is watching television, both dogs suddenly become alert. There's no Roomba moving around this time, no noise, no visible reason for their behavior, yet both dogs are completely focused on the kitchen. They sit still, staring in the same direction, refusing to look away. Nick says the way they locked onto that space made his stomach drop. They weren't reacting to a sound. They weren't looking at each other. They were focused, tense, and clearly disturbed by something Nick couldn't see. The longer it went on, the worse it felt. The dogs wouldn't relax. They wouldn't move. They just stared. That moment brings back a story Nick's grandfather once told him before he passed away the year prior. According to his grandfather, there was a night when he turned off the lights and glanced toward the kitchen. In the darkness, he saw Nick's grandmother standing there alone. She wasn't moving, she wasn't speaking, just standing silently, but when he looked again a moment later, she was gone. At the time, the story was unsettling but easy to dismiss. Now, with everything Nick has been experiencing, it feels different. Those memories linger as Nick continues filming. Eventually, he puts the dogs away, hoping that will calm things down. The house grows quiet again, and for a brief moment, it seems like whatever was happening has passed. Then the ice maker goes off. It's the middle of the night, and the sudden mechanical noise snaps Nick's attention straight back to the kitchen. Startled, he grabs his camera and begins recording again, unsure of what he's about to capture. What happens next is the moment that pushes his unease into full-blown fear.
Whoa. Whoa. Yo. Oh, that's cool.
The Roomba, which had been following Nick around the living room moments earlier, suddenly flips over completely. It doesn't bump into anything. There's no visible object in its path. It doesn't get stuck or caught on a cord. It just turns abruptly and falls onto its back, as if something had forcefully knocked it over. Nick freezes. There's no explanation he can see, no reason for this sudden movement. The Roomba doesn't struggle first. It doesn't hesitate. It just flips. Terrified, Nick stops recording and uploads the footage online almost immediately. As viewers begin to analyze the video, they point out details Nick hadn't noticed at first. Earlier in the night, the Roomba had been moving in a straight line, something that's highly unusual for these devices. They're designed to zigzag. change direction frequently and avoid predictable patterns. But this time, it moved forward steadily, almost deliberately. Even more unsettling is what happens near the stairs. Normally, Roombas have sensors that prevent them from falling down steps. Earlier in the footage, viewers notice it behaving as expected, stopping at the edge and turning around, but in this final clip, it doesn't hesitate at all. It keeps moving forward, ignoring the drop entirely. To many people watching, it looks as if something altered its behavior. Nick says that after that night, not much else has happened. No more objects falling, no more sudden movements. The house has been quiet. Too quiet, but the feeling hasn't gone away. He still doesn't feel comfortable in the kitchen. He still watches the dogs closely, and every time the Roomba turns on, he can't help but wonder if it's going to react to something he can't see. Like so many videos like this, there are no clear answers, no definitive proof of anything supernatural, just a series of strange moments, unsettling timing, and behaviors that don't quite add up. And for Nick, that uncertainty is the hardest part of all. Videos from Chinese social media often look very strange because of the heavy editing and loud audio effects. I wanted to share the best version of this clip I could find, even with the odd visuals. This happened in Yunnan, China, where a woman was outside doing a routine chore by burning a pile of trash. Without any warning, the fire exploded with massive force. It appears that something highly flammable or a pressurized container was hidden under the debris. She was struck by the blast, but was lucky enough to survive the incident. I feel terrible that a simple day of cleaning turned into a life-threatening explosion. This is why I'm always extremely careful about what I put into an open flame. It is a somber lesson for everyone. In this video, we are looking at dashcam footage from a vehicle owned by the Jensen's distributor company in Paraguay. One of their employees is behind the wheel, simply trying to finish his route. However, in just a few seconds, a normal workday turns into a life-threatening nightmare. As he nears a roundabout, a brown SUV suddenly swerves to block his path. At least 3 armed men jump out with weapons drawn. The driver makes a swift decision to reverse, and that is when the criminals open fire on him. I feel terrible that this worker had to experience such a violent ambush. It is absolutely insane how bold these attackers were in broad daylight. Fortunately, the driver used a quick escape and no one was struck or wounded during the shooting. This is why I never like driving through unfamiliar areas alone. It is truly terrifying. Megalophobia is a specific condition where a person is terrified of massive objects like giants, statues, or large buildings. You can really understand that feeling when you see a ship weighing over 100,000 tons moving toward you while you're standing on solid ground. This took place in Thailand during 2024. In the video, the giant vessel looks like a moving wall of steel as it gets closer to the dock. I cannot imagine the fear of watching something that big move toward you with so much momentum. It is a somber and overwhelming sight that makes you realize how small we really are. This is why I never like standing at the edge of a harbor when the big ships are coming in. Welcome to Sarandi, a place most people have never heard of until this moment. It's a quiet city that rarely finds itself in the spotlight, but one unexpected incident would suddenly send its name racing across the internet. A man flying a powered motor aircraft, a lightweight personal plane, suddenly lost control in midair. At first glance, it might look like reckless flying or pilot error, the kind of mistake that usually ends in disaster, but that assumption turned out to be wrong. According to Sarandi's fire department, the aircraft suffered a mechanical failure caused by a defect in the propeller. With limited control and very little time to react, the pilot was forced to bring the aircraft down wherever he could. Somehow, against the odds, he managed a crash landing that avoided nearby buildings and people. Firefighters rushed to the scene expecting the worst. Instead, they found the pilot alive, conscious, and incredibly uninjured. In a situation that could have easily ended in tragedy, he walked away without so much as a scratch, leaving behind a scene that looked far more deadly than it actually was. What a miracle, am I right? In this video by Police Insider, we see an incredibly dangerous high-speed pursuit involving a maroon Acura. The driver led officers on a chase through city streets while leaving his hazard lights blinking. Initially, the police tried to conduct a standard traffic stop, but the man chose to flee instead of pulling over. The pursuit covered less than 3 miles but resulted in over $15,000 in damage to several patrol cars. The footage shows the driver eventually becoming cornered in a parking lot behind a Taco Bell. Instead of surrendering to the officers, he began ramming his vehicle into multiple cruisers with a quick and violent motion. The impact was so severe that it pushed the police cars back and nearly caused a fatal confrontation.
Yes! Hey! Hey!
418, he's taking off again, eastbound. I'm behind him, turning on Norwich.
He's in the parking lot behind Taco Bell.
The driver eventually lost control and crashed into a utility pole, which brought live electrical wires down onto the pavement.
Watch reverse! Watch reverse! Stop the car!
Watch out, don't get... If you got it... 401, he's ramming cruisers.
401, he's ramming the cruiser. Or 418, he's rammed the cruisers. Yeah! Stop! You're gonna get shot! Stop! Stop! I'm going taser! I'm going taser! Get taser! Taser deployed, Dave. Taser deployed. Get your foot off.
You guys got me.
Get out of the car! Drag him in! Get out of the f***ing car, mother... His legs. Hold up! You're on me! You're on me!
Oh, all right. Get off his leg. You're on his leg.
Slow down.
You're on Bradford's leg.
Slow down. You guys are... I got cuffed.
We got him. We got him.
401, we're going to need AES and fire out here. We got to pull down live electrical wires.
Guys, watch the wires.
Have them come in off main. Once you see it down, you know, it's down.
All right. Let them know we got one in custody. Get him off my f***ing foot.
Here, let's get him away from these wires, Dan. God damn it. You guys got me.
You're a f***ing idiot.
I know. God damn it.
What? I already pulled them. Here, hold on.
God damn it. Dude, I'm such a stupid idiot. Yep. God damn it. You guys got me. You guys got me, dude. God damn it.
You're lucky you didn't get shot, dude.
Yeah. You drunk, man, or what's the deal?
Yo, he reeks.
I mean, you guys know.
Dude, I really don't think you understand how close you were to getting shot.
Yeah, you're lucky to be alive right now.
Get him.
You guys know I'm okay with that. Yeah, well, when you sober up, you'll realize.
Let's get to a different cruiser. I want to get away from these.
Here, my cruisers. Put him in mine. Here, let's go here for now. I think all our cars are damaged.
Hey, you guys are badasses, dude. I'm sorry. You guys are badasses. Damn it. You know what I mean? You got me. You got me.
You want to just throw a wire in with him? No, pull that out.
Dude, you guys, I'm so sorry, dude.
Where's the other? Lean forward.
Yeah, I got you. Tell me what you want me to do. I know y'all got families, dude. I'm so sorry, dude. Dude, I'm such an idiot.
Might just be looped through the...
I feel terrible for the officers who had to deal with such a reckless individual during their shift. It is frightening to think that someone would cause so much destruction to avoid a simple interaction with the law. The driver was found to be severely intoxicated with a blood alcohol level of 0.24. He also had a high amount of THC in his system, which likely contributed to his erratic and life-threatening behavior. Even after being taken into custody, the man seemed completely disconnected from the severity of his actions. He actually apologized to the officers for hitting their cars while he was being treated for his injuries.
I did not expect that, man. He wouldn't stop. Carefully throw up on the front seat.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I think it's chicken dip. I don't see a wallet anyway.
You want to step out with me? You need some help, my dude.
Well, I got you. We're gonna get you checked out at the hospital, okay?
I mean, it appears you need some help, my friend.
We're gonna have a seat right here.
You do what you gotta do.
Put your butt right in that crease.
Oh, we got some. Yep.
And then, yep, just on this back.
We'll just switch my cuffs out. All right, so I'm going to release your left hand. This right hand's going to stay cuffed.
Okay.
And it's going to get cuffed to the cot. Okay.
Sure. So I'm right in front here.
Hey,
I'm not moving. I'm not moving. I'm not moving.
Take this one off, and Gavin's going to put his other one on.
There we go.
It's a real funny situation.
The damage he caused to public property and the risk he posed to everyone on the road is truly staggering. I never like seeing how a single night of substance abuse can lead to a string of violent felonies. How can someone be so out of touch that they think ramming police cars is a viable way to escape? Do you think a $100,000 bond is enough for someone who took down live power lines? A swift decision to run from police can change the course of a person's life forever. In this video, we explore the chilling reality that the most frightening encounters often happen in places where we feel the most secure. Usually these events take place inside a cozy home or a quiet car, but the situation feels much heavier when a youngster is involved. A mother was simply recording her young son during a normal afternoon at home, but the footage captured something that would later leave her completely horrified. I feel terrible for this mother because discovering something like this after the fact is a total nightmare. Initially, the clip looked like a sweet memory, but after it was shared online, viewers began spotting a terrifying detail. Just behind the youngster's playpen, a faint figure appears for a brief second. It is a somber and unsettling shape that doesn't belong there. There was no one else in the house and no furniture moved to cause a shadow like that. The lack of a logical explanation is what makes this so disturbing to watch. The mother was deeply shaken when she saw the figure lurking so close to her son. It is a haunting mystery that remains completely unexplained. I would be terrified to stay in that room. What do you think was standing behind him? This next video surfaced in November 2025 and it comes out of Indonesia. It starts off oddly enough with a man filming a car parked below his apartment building. At first glance, it seems random, almost pointless, until you realize there's a very specific reason his camera never looks away.
没有烟啊？
有。
官方嘛。
我那边没关。
快赶紧关烟。
The car is already on fire and not in the way you'd normally expect. The flames don't behave like a typical engine fire. Instead, they erupt violently from underneath the vehicle, spreading fast and burning with an intensity that's hard to control. While the exact brand isn't known, one thing is painfully obvious. This was an electric car, and the battery pack had most likely suffered a catastrophic failure. Electric vehicle fires are a different beast altogether. You can't just spray them down with water and hope for the best. These fires burn hotter, last longer, and often reignite without warning. It takes a large, coordinated response, specialized equipment, and a lot of time to bring something like this under control. Thankfully, in this case, no one was hurt. The fire was eventually contained and everyone nearby made it out safely. Still, watching the footage unfold is unsettling, especially knowing how suddenly something so ordinary can turn into a dangerous, uncontrollable inferno.
官方嘛。
我那边没关。
快赶紧关烟。
In this video, we are looking at security footage from a retail store on a Friday night back in 2014. An employee named Don Rivas is using his phone to record the monitor because he spotted a man who appeared to be stealing merchandise. Don wanted to keep a close eye on the suspect, but that is not the only reason he started filming. He says there is a moment in this clip that still freaks him out to this very day. While he was monitoring the shoplifter, he noticed something on the floor that he simply cannot explain.
Look right here. Right here. Look, watch. What is that? What is that? And it's just gone, bruh. Look at this. It's there, and now it's not, bruh. What is that? Bruh. What is that? What is that? And then it's just gone. Bruh. What is that? One more time. Bruh. What is that?
Right there on the ground, a mysterious shape or object suddenly appears out of nowhere. There is nothing in the footage to show where it came from. The customer's leg never moves to reveal it, and Don's own position remains steady. It looks as if the shadow or object just creeps into the shot on its own. Even if it was an item left on the floor, it wouldn't explain how it emerged so suddenly without being touched. I feel terrible for Don because having to watch something unexplainable like that while you're alone at work is a total nightmare. This is why I never like being the last person in a building at night. To this day, Don cannot explain what he saw on that screen. Some people think it's just a trick of the light or a glitch in the old camera system, but others are convinced that something paranormal appeared in that room. It is a somber and chilling mystery that still haunts his memory years later. It makes me wonder what else might be lurking in the corners of these quiet shops after the sun goes down. In the early morning hours of March 27, 2022, the streets of downtown San Jose, California were filled with a heavy, intense energy. Local police were already busy managing a homicide scene only a few blocks away, a situation that always puts officers on high alert. Just a short distance from that investigation, a completely different drama was starting to play out inside a popular late-night restaurant called La Victoria Taqueria. This footage is something that many people still find difficult to watch because of how quickly a normal night turned into a total disaster. A 20-year-old college football player named Kuhn Green walked into the shop to get some food after a long night. The restaurant was crowded with people, some tired and others restless, creating an unpredictable atmosphere. Shortly after Kuhn arrived, a man named Brian Carter entered the building with two of his friends. Reports later suggested the group may have been heavily intoxicated. In this video, you can see the classic signs of confrontation beginning to brew. There is posturing, crowding, and then a sudden punch is thrown. I feel terrible for anyone caught in the middle of a brawl like this because things can turn deadly in a heartbeat. This is why I never like staying in crowded late-night spots when the mood starts to shift. Kuhn reacted with the quick instincts of an athlete defending himself as multiple people began to swarm him. Amid the chaos, a stranger stepped in to help Kuhn, trying to prevent him from being overwhelmed by the attackers. That selfless act may have saved his life. However, the situation turned from a fistfight into a life-threatening crisis when a firearm appeared. The second the weapon was visible, the entire room snapped into a state of pure panic. People did not just walk away, they bolted for the exits in a desperate rush to survive. Even the security guard fled the scene, leaving the restaurant workers trapped behind the counter with no protection. It is a somber sight to witness how quickly human instinct takes over when a weapon is involved. Kuhn managed to wrestle the gun away from the attacker, but what he did next is what makes this footage so unique. Instead of seeking revenge for using the weapon, he backed away and tried to create space. His body language showed that he was trying to de-escalate the entire mess. He was holding the gun, but he was not pointing it at anyone. He was simply trying to keep it away from the aggressors. Outside, police officers who were already nearby heard reports of a person with a gun and rushed toward the restaurant. They were already on edge from the homicide investigation and likely believed these two events were connected. As Kuhn was pushed out the front door during a continued struggle, he was met by the responding officers. In a quick and tragic moment of confusion, Officer Mark McNamara fired 4 shots at the young man. The time between the police arriving and the shots being fired was less than 3 seconds. Kuhn had raised his hands the moment he saw the officers, but it was already too late. I feel a deep sense of somberness watching this because Kuhn had actually done the right thing by disarming the attacker, yet he was the one struck by police gunfire. He luckily survived after undergoing emergency surgery, but the incident sparked massive outrage throughout the community. The public could not understand why a young man who had just saved lives by taking a gun away from a criminal was now fighting for his own life in a hospital bed. The footage raised very hard questions about how police perceive threats under extreme pressure, especially since multiple officers were present but only one decided decided to open fire. As the legal battle began, the story took an even darker turn. During the discovery process of a lawsuit, text messages belonging to McNamara were uncovered. These messages revealed the disgusting bias and used language that completely destroyed any remaining trust the public had in the officer. McNamara resigned from the force before the full details of those messages were made public. Authorities eventually moved to ensure he could never work in law enforcement again, and his previous cases were called into question. By January 2024, the city of San Jose agreed to pay an $8 million settlement to Kuhn Green to avoid a long and painful trial. Kuhn has since recovered and continues to pursue his dreams in football, using the trauma of that night as a source of motivation to move forward.
Times, man, actually a test of times too, but man, it boosts my spirits a whole lot. It just believing in myself and just fighting back from the brink of death.
This is why I always feel a heavy weight when I think about this case. It's a terrifying example of how someone can do everything right and still be seen as the bad guy in a split second. The reason this video continues to haunt those who see it is the clear gap between what was actually happening and what the officers assumed was happening. It shows how a hero can be mistaken for a villain in the blink of an eye. Every youngster should be taught that even in a moment of bravery, the world can be a very unforgiving place. It is a haunting mystery of human error and split-second judgment caught in real time on a grainy security camera. This footage comes from Sriwijaya University in West Java, Indonesia, and it was captured by a security camera mounted inside one of the campus buildings. At first, nothing seems out of the ordinary. A group of students are sitting together, relaxed, talking, completely unaware that they're seconds away from a life-threatening moment. Without warning, part of the roof suddenly gives way. Concrete, dust, and debris crash down into the room, collapsing directly onto the students and trapping several of them beneath the rubble. What should have been a safe indoor space instantly turns into a disaster scene. Amazingly, despite the weight of the collapse and how close it came to being fatal, the students survived with only minor injuries. One student later explained they were rehearsing for a theater practice when the ceiling came down. In the chaos, she had to physically drag her friend out from under the debris to escape. It's hard to imagine how something so routine could turn that dangerous so fast. Quiet moment, a normal day on campus, and then the roof literally falls in. Incidents like this are terrifying not just because of what happened, but because of how little warning there was before everything changed. No words to describe this one. Observe. You witnessed the bizarre moment when Syrian government fighters were being filmed by an SDF drone. Now, if he had been paying attention, he might have seen what was going on around him and been able to flee in time. While he was recording, people were hurrying to get away. In this unsettling video, a woman named Arya is filming herself as she walks alone through a hotel hallway late at night. At first glance, it seems ordinary, a quiet corridor, dim lighting, patterned carpet stretching into the distance. But almost immediately, there is something wrong with the atmosphere. The space feels heavy, tense, like the air itself is pressing in. Arya doesn't say much at first, but the way she holds the phone tells you everything. She's uneasy, and she has a reason to be. As she walks, she begins to hear movement behind her. Not loud footsteps, not voices, just subtle sounds that don't match her own pace. A faint shuffle, a rhythm that feels off. That's when she raises her phone and starts recording. She doesn't know what's there, only that something is. Anyone who's ever walked alone in a hotel at night knows that feeling. Long hallways, blind corners, doors you don't recognize, the sense that if something went wrong, no one would hear it. Arya keeps moving, but her steps quicken. She glances back, panning the camera down the hallway behind her. On screen, it looks empty. No people, no shadows, nothing that should justify the fear in her voice. And yet she reacts exactly like someone being followed. Her breathing changes. Her shoulders tense. She doesn't stop recording. Later, Arya would explain that the moment the sound shifted from walking to running, she didn't hesitate. She sprinted toward the elevator at the end of the hall. She didn't look back again. She just ran. She made it inside the elevator and got out safely. At least that's how the story seemed at first. She uploaded the clip after the fact, shaken but relieved. But when people began slowing the footage down and analyzing it frame by frame, the situation became far more disturbing. At the start of the video, when Arya turns the camera behind her, there is truly no one visible. No person stepping out of a doorway, no figure at the far end of the hall, yet her reaction suggests something was close. Too close. Viewers began asking the same question over and over. What was she reacting to? That's when a hotel housekeeper named Tony came forward. According to Tony, the incident didn't end at the hallway. He claimed to have access to the hotel security footage from that night and shared what he found.
So here's video of that girl that posted, and I'm gonna let y'all know now, it gets really weird. Really weird. It's like she acting like she's running from something or hiding from something, but there's literally nobody else in the frame. Like she tweaking.
Yeah, it is weird.
And the elevator door is not even closing. Like she playing hide and seek or something. But look, this ain't even the craziest thing. Like now the elevator, look, the elevator door is closed. This ain't even the craziest thing about this video though. I got like more video to show y'all, and it just gets super weird. So y'all just stay tuned.
In the security video, Arya can be seen stepping into the elevator. The doors begin to close, then suddenly stop. They remain open, frozen as if something is blocking them. Arya stands inside, visibly confused and frightened. She presses buttons, nothing happens. The doors refuse to shut. Then she steps out. The moment she exits the elevator, the doors close instantly. No delay, no resistance, just a smooth, immediate shutdown. It's as if whatever was holding them open no longer needed to. What happens next is even more alarming. 3 minutes after Arya fled the building, the hallway camera picked up something else, a shadow moving quickly across the frame. There was no person visible, no one walking nearby who could have cast it, just a shape that passed through the camera's view and disappeared.
And y'all think that's crazy? Keep watching like right by that door right there, by that table. Keep watching right over by there. The whole time I'm thinking somebody following her. So we trying to go over the film and just keep watching. Look. My hand is shaking. Right there.
What is that?
What the heck? Bro, that's a rock from that table right there. Those are stones and those in bowls right there by that table. And that one of them stones just fell on the floor.
And there's no way that should happen because there's no wind in there.
Wind ain't even gonna do that though. This is crazy, yo.
Instead of returning to her room, Arya runs out of the hotel entirely. She doesn't check out, she doesn't speak to the staff, she leaves behind her luggage, her personal belongings, everything. She just gets out. Tony later said that while checking the floor she had been staying on, he found something unusual near her room.
You said what? It's like all my stuff is just left here. It's crazy.
Yo, hold on, y'all. This is crazy.
a thin metal tool lying on the carpet. It wasn't hotel property, it was a device commonly used to unlock doors from the outside. The kind of tool you don't accidentally drop.
Oh my god.
After that night, Arya went silent. She stopped responding to messages. She never posted an explanation, no follow-up, no reassurance, nothing. To this day, no one knows exactly what she heard, what she sensed, or why she ran the way she did. Was someone stalking her and narrowly missed being caught on camera? Was there an attempted break-in she escaped just in time? Or was it something even stranger, something that never fully revealed itself? All we're left with is the footage, the unanswered questions, and the knowledge that whatever happened was terrifying enough for her to abandon everything and never look back. And sometimes, that silence is the most unsettling part of all. In this video captured on Lopez Quintas Street, a routine afternoon drive suddenly transforms into a life-altering event that has since shocked millions of viewers across the internet. The footage begins in a very calm manner, with cars moving at a steady pace and no obvious signs of trouble. However, everything changes in a quick second when an armored Jeep rushes into the frame. It's moving much faster than the surrounding traffic, making it clear that the driver is already aware of the mounting threat. Almost immediately, a motorcycle pulls up alongside the vehicle. The passenger on the bike leans in close and presses a firearm directly against the glass of the windshield. This was a bold and violent robbery happening in broad daylight with many other people and vehicles nearby. Inside the Jeep, the driver had no time to negotiate or try to talk his way out of the situation. There was no safe place to pull over, and there was no guarantee that these men wouldn't pull the trigger even if he cooperated. I feel terrible for the driver because facing a gun through a window is a terrifying nightmare that no one should have to endure. This is why I always keep my doors locked and stay alert at every red light. In a fraction of a second, the driver made a swift decision to use the massive vehicle as a defensive shield. Instead of braking, he accelerated and struck the motorcycle with massive force. The bike was thrown violently into a flower bed near the curb, and the Jeep actually rode up onto the sidewalk, pitting the two suspects underneath the heavy frame. The street went completely silent as the danger ended as quickly as it had begun. I am shocked by how fast the power dynamic shifted from the armed attackers to the victim. Firefighters arrived at a quick pace and had to use hydraulic tools to lift the Jeep off the men inch by inch. Police were right there to put the suspects in handcuffs while they were still trapped on the ground, unable to move or escape. Authorities eventually identified the men as 25-year-old Thiago Felix Vieira da Silva and 18-year-old Thiago Gabriel Brito Oliveira. It turns out the younger suspect already had a very serious criminal history involving violence and illegal weapons. The third person involved in the crime managed to escape the scene with a weapon before officers arrived. While many people online praise the driver for his quick thinking and bravery, others have raised questions about how close the Jeep came to hitting innocent youngsters or pedestrians on the sidewalk. It is a somber reminder that when there are no good options left, survival often depends on a choice that can never be undone. This video is disturbing because it shows how an ordinary street can become a battlefield without any warning. The driver had to turn his car into a weapon just to stay alive. It makes you wonder how you would react if you were in that driver's seat with only a second to save your own life. This confrontation serves as a chilling example of the risks people face every day. You won't believe this footage that appears normal initially, but something crazy transpires. This was meant to be a practical joke. I had to give props for having fast reflexes though. On September 27, 2025 at approximately 2 o'clock in the morning, Buffalo police officers responded to a call described only as unknown trouble. What they encountered was anything but routine. When officers arrived, they found a woman later identified as 38-year-old Cynthia Gilbert armed with a knife and behaving aggressively.
15, take me and Kenneth with a knife. White guy. Alright. Same type of people. Alright, can you get me up there? So we got 32 in it. It looks like he's throwing stuff. Put me up. Go away! Lion on fire! Run! Hell, you on the fire. Anyone call you certified?
6 feet. You guys clear the air. I got a number 2 male in the hallway. He has a big knife. He's going down the staircase. Can I get another unit? Yeah, 60, I might have to make entry. There's blood on the door. I think someone else is inside. Baltimore police, open the door.
Sir.
Open the door.
All right, 12, how far are you? What floor are you on?
All right. Do we have a bunker or anything? He has like a really big knife. I can't tell if someone else is in there with him.
No, we don't know yet. Sir, 1, hold the air. He's got Belushi with him. Hold the air.
All right. I got a change there. All right. To the right or left? It's right here. Okay. Apartment. Baltimore police, open the door. Open the door! Police! Nah, the door's locked. There's blood all over. Yeah, he has a really big knife. He has like a machete. But I don't know if he's chopping somebody or what, but we gotta get in. Can somebody bring me a ram or something to take this door? Police! Open the door! Come out and talk to us. It's the police. We gotta see you to make sure you're okay.
You can stay on. I'm just talking, all right?
I got you.
You said
you got someone. I'm not sure. He's using that knife and he's telling someone to die. There's blood everywhere. There's blood on the door.
Is he saying? Is he saying something that don't make sense?
Yes. Please drop the knife. Drop the knife. Drop it. Drop it.
Drop that knife. Drop that knife.
Drop the knife.
Drop that knife.
Drop the knife.
Officers immediately attempted to calm the situation, issuing repeated commands for her to drop the weapon. Gilbert refused. Instead, she began moving toward a small group of people she was known to, pointing the knife directly at them. As the tension escalated, one officer deployed pepper spray in an effort to stop her advance. It didn't work.
Drop the knife.
Drop the knife.
No.
Get the fuck
Drop that knife! Back up! Back up! Everything! Take the top! You back up! You back up! You back up! Get back up! Back up! We got time!
Get back! Get back! Get back!
Get out! Get back! Everyone
back up!
Everyone back up!
Back up! Back up! Back up! Back up! Back up!
Stay there!
Back up!
21 feet! You have it up! Let's go! Back up, please! 21 feet! Everyone, hey, clear the hall. We don't need 3 people in the seat.
Back up!
Only guns up front!
Stop!
Only guns up front!
Back up! Back up!
Only guns up front! Only guns up front! Stay on them! We're good! We
Get on the ground! Face down!
21 feet! We need
Get down! You're doing good!
Back up a little bit more.
Drop your weapons!
Back up a little bit more. You want me to tell you?
No more! Drop your weapons! No more! No more!
Bunker up front! Bunker up front!
Let me know what's going on today.
I am God, and you are done. No more cops. You.
I need
Hey,
you to drop
cab, bitches. Look, a fucking tattoo right here that says ACAB. Because all cops are bad.
over here. Give me a care about it.
Back it up a little bit.
Very good.
Keep coming back.
Keep coming. Keep coming.
Let's take it to the elevators if we have to.
Yep.
Space.
You're doing a great job. I appreciate that.
Keep coming back, listen.
Yep.
I want to far away from those eyes.
Let's take it to the elevators where we got more
You're
space.
doing a great job. Thank you. Your help. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We're gonna have him do everything we say. He's gonna lay down flat. Back on your knee.
Yep. You gotta get on your knees.
On your knees. Stay down. Sir, get back on the floor.
You gotta get on the floor for me.
Get back on the floor.
You've been doing a good job. I appreciate you.
Get back on the floor, buddy.
All right, we're gonna have to take it. You're doing a good job. I appreciate you. Sir, get on your knees. You gotta get on your knees. Get on your knees.
Officers, along with members of the Buffalo Fire Department and EMTs, rendered immediate first aid to both the victim and Gilbert. Both were transported to Erie County Medical Center with injuries that were later confirmed to be non-life-threatening. Gilbert was subsequently arraigned on an indictment charging her with attempted murder and attempted assault. In October 2025, following a comprehensive review of the incident, Erie County District Attorney Mike Keene ruled that the officers' actions were legally justified and cleared them of any criminal wrongdoing. What began as a vague late-night call ended in seconds of violence, leaving lasting consequences for everyone involved. In a series of security recordings that have recently circulated throughout Brazilian media, we see how mundane daily routines can be interrupted by events that feel almost surreal. These streets look like any other, with slow traffic and people going about their business, believing they understand the dangers of their environment. However, these videos reveal how quickly a person's confidence can turn into total shock when their assumptions are met with a different reality. One specific incident takes place in the heart of Sao Paulo, where two men are seen walking briskly down a crowded sidewalk, scanning the parked cars with a very quiet and dark intent. Their focus eventually settles on a white Honda Civic. Without any hesitation, one of the suspects steps forward, pulls the door open, and announces a robbery. From a distance, it looks like a typical opportunistic crime, but inside the vehicle sits a plainclothes police officer. In a quick second, the power dynamic completely flips. The officer exits the car, creates necessary space, and reacts. The suspect, who was totally unprepared for any resistance, tries to bolt but stumbles and falls in the middle of the street. While his accomplice managed to drive the car away, the escape did not last long. Radio alerts were sent out at a quick pace, and local units intercepted the stolen vehicle just minutes later. Another chilling clip takes us to Marana Avenue in Rio de Janeiro on a heavy January night. The traffic is nearly frozen when a motorcycle weaves between the lanes and stops next to a rider who appears to be distracted. A man in a white shirt walks up calmly and demands the bike. The victim responds with a deliberate slowness that makes the robber relax. He steps off the bike, puts it on the kickstand, and even removes his helmet while raising his hands. His body language suggests total cooperation, leading the criminal to believe he has full control of the situation. The robber puts on the helmet and climbs onto the seat, but that feeling of victory lasts only a moment. The victim is actually an off-duty officer. He draws his weapon and reacts with a swift motion. The suspect panics, loses his balance, and falls onto the asphalt within just a few meters. The confrontation ends almost as soon as it started, and the injured suspect is taken into custody after receiving medical care. I feel terrible for the residents who have to live with this constant threat of violence. This is why I always tell my friends to stay alert, even in heavy traffic. The third video shows a silver car waiting at the entrance of a residential building. Everything seems fine until the driver looks in his mirror and sees a motorcycle pulling up directly behind him. The rider pulls out a gun, but the officer inside the car simulates a surrender by raising his hands. When the suspect reaches for the door handle, the officer uses that tiny opening to react. The suspect falls and drops his weapon while his partner flees without looking back. These recordings are disturbing because they show how thin the line is between safety and chaos. Each criminal thought they had found an easy target, only to realize too late that they were the ones in danger. This happened in Chiang Mai, Thailand. A cop and a young man who was pulled over join us. The officer has asked to search the scooter that the man was riding.
มาถ่ายกับพี่นี่มาอยากถ่ายเดี๋ยวพี่ถ่ายให้ไม่มีอะไรผิดกฎหมายนะไม่มีครับแต่อยู่โน่นด้านหลังก่อนเดี๋ยวดูมือพี่นะครับไม่มีอะไรนะหยุด
pulled out a weapon and used it on the police as he was inspecting the scooter. Fortunately, the officer observed what was happening and evaded the rounds, returning fire. What transpired thereafter is unknown. You could watch it unfold now, and given how slowly he responded, the officer was truly extremely fortunate. Thus far, all that is known is that the officer managed to leave unscathed. This video was recorded in what should have been one of the safest, most ordinary places imaginable, a family's own backyard. It was a quiet evening, and a mother and her young daughter were spending time together by their pool. There was nothing unusual about the night, no strange noises, no unsettling feelings. In fact, the entire reason the mother picked up her phone was simple and harmless. She wanted to show her sister the new pool lights they had just installed.
You have to change the colors.
You might be able to do it on the pump.
Oh, that looks so cool, and they're above too. Oh, that's so cool. That's weird.
A short time later, her phone buzzed with a message from her sister Lacey. Instead of reacting to the pool lights, Lacey asked a question that immediately changed the tone of the night. She told her sister to go back and rewatch the video carefully, not casually, carefully.
You have to change the colors.
You might be able to do it on the pump.
Oh, that looks so cool, and they're above too. Oh, that's so cool. That's weird.
Right in front of her daughter, something moved through the frame. It wasn't obvious at first. In fact, if you weren't looking for it, you could easily miss it. A faint shape passes across the pool area, partially obscured by darkness and the glare of lights. At first, it almost looks like a trick of light or a reflection, but the longer you watch, the harder it becomes to miss. The shape doesn't behave like a shadow. It doesn't stretch or distort the way shadows normally do. Instead, it moves with purpose, crossing directly in front of the girl. For a brief moment, it becomes clear, taking on a more solid outline before fading again. It's as if whatever it is shifts between being barely there and disturbingly present within seconds. What makes this especially unsettling is the timing. Neither the mother nor her daughter reacted in the moment. There was no flinch, no glance toward the movement, no sign that they saw or felt anything pass by. The moment came and went unnoticed by the people who were actually there. Only the camera caught it. Lacey was certain of one thing. No one else was in the background that night. No neighbors, no visitors, no one passing through. Just the mother, her daughter, and the pool. That certainty is what made the footage so difficult to explain. To rule out anything obvious, the family later compared the video to footage of the pool taken during the day. In daylight, everything is clearly visible. The tarp overhead, the pool's edges, the surrounding area, nothing in the environment matches the shape seen in the night footage. There's no hanging object that could swing into view, no decoration that could create that outline, no shadow source that would behave that way. The shape in the video doesn't align with any physical object in the space, and perhaps the most unsettling detail is where it appears. It doesn't stay at the edges of the frame. It doesn't hide in the background. It moves directly across the area in front of the child. What started as a harmless video meant to show off new lights has become something they can't unsee. And while nothing else has happened since that night, the impact has lingered. The pool that once felt calm and dark now feels different, heavy, uninviting. They still use it during the day, but nighttime swims, those have become rare. And for anyone who's watched the clip closely, who's seen that shape move silently across a frame, it's easy to understand why. In this footage that later circulated across social media and various local news outlets, a domestic dispute unfolds in a manner that feels incredibly raw and unsettling. The security camera captures a woman pointing desperately toward a man, her voice trembling as she explains to the arriving authorities that he is her husband and the father of her youngsters. She informs the police that he is currently armed with a large blade and has already made direct threats against her and their young ones. Her explanation comes out in fragments, fueled by deep fear. She notes that he had left the home before but returned, and she allowed him back solely for the sake of maintaining family peace. This time, however, she insists that the situation is different. This time, she is truly terrified. Police units from 16th Battalion responded at a quick pace to the call. When the officers arrive on the scene, the man is visibly agitated, gripping a sharp blade and refusing to follow any orders to calm down. The atmosphere is chaotic yet controlled, with officers issuing firm commands while simultaneously requesting backup over their radios. Their voices often overlap as they struggle to contain a volatile situation that looks like it could spiral into violence at any second. The man begins moving toward the police, completely ignoring repeated instructions to drop the weapon. What makes this video especially disturbing is the extreme emotional instability on display. The man appears disconnected from reality, alternating between intense anger and visible confusion. At one point, witnesses can be heard saying that the man is actually daring the officers to strike him, as if he is trying to provoke a violent reaction reaction. The officers acknowledge that he might be suffering from a mental breakdown, but they are clear that their primary responsibility is the immediate safety of everyone present. They are not doctors and cannot pause the moment to provide therapy. They can only react to the physical threat standing in front of them. As the confrontation continues, the officers manage to disarm the man not once but twice, taking 2 separate blades away from his hands. Even after being disarmed, he continues to make verbal threats and advances toward the police, forcing them to back away while they wait for more support to arrive. One officer can be heard explaining very clearly that if the man continues to approach them while holding a weapon, they will be forced to respond with force. That statement hangs heavily in the air as the entire encounter feels balanced on a knife's edge. Slowly, through repeated and calm instructions, the officers finally begin to regain control. They speak directly to the man, telling him they are there to help and are not his enemies. They eventually separate him from his wife and youngsters, explaining that the situation as it stands cannot continue. They make it clear that a relationship filled with such fear and threats is dangerous for everyone involved. Eventually, the man is restrained and the weapons are seized as evidence. I feel terrible for the youngsters who had to witness their father in such a state. This is why I believe domestic calls are the most dangerous for everyone involved. It's a somber reminder how thin the line is between a peaceful home and a total tragedy. The outcome was only saved by the extreme restraint of the law enforcement on site. You'll know almost everything about AMG if you're interested in automobiles. Mercedes-Benz's performance division produces vehicles with easily 500 horsepower. This is a G63. It is now operating in Ghana and has 585 horsepower. The man ended up crashing with a smaller automobile as a result of his somewhat careless driving. Some sources have stated that the person in the automobile he drove with sadly did not survive because of the disparity in safety between these two vehicles. Even if the video shows otherwise, you could see him lying at the end about a car issue, claiming the accelerator was stuck. This footage comes from a mother named Gabby, someone who has documented nearly every moment of her daughter's life online. Her account is built entirely around her child, a little girl named Regina. For Gabby, this wasn't just a hobby or a way to share memories. After enduring multiple failed pregnancies, she once believed she might never become a mother. So when Regina was finally born, Gabby saw her as nothing short of a miracle. From the very beginning, Gabby recorded everything: Regina's first smile, her first steps, her first words. Every small milestone was preserved on camera, posted with pride and gratitude. Scrolling through Gabby's page feels like watching a highlight reel of motherhood, filled with warmth, laughter, and love. But hidden among those joyful clips are a few videos that viewers find deeply unsettling. It started when Regina was still a baby. Back then, Regina would often crawl toward the same hallway in their home. She wouldn't cry or seem distressed. She would just stop there and stare, completely still, as if something had caught her attention. At first, Gabby didn't think much of it. Babies do strange things all the time. They fixate on shadows, sounds, or patterns adults can't see. Gabby assumed it was nothing more than curiosity, but the behavior didn't stop.
Vámonos ya. Vente, mi amor. Vente.
As Regina grew older, the hallway remained the same focal point. Instead of crawling, she would stand there. She'd laugh, wave, and play by herself, always facing that same stretch of hallway. Sometimes she would play games of tag, darting back and forth as if someone else was chasing her. Other times, she would blow kisses into the empty space, smiling as though someone was smiling back. To many people watching, the explanation seemed obvious. Kids have imaginary friends. It's normal. It's harmless. Then, recently, things changed. Regina's behavior toward the hallway shifted. The playful energy disappeared. Instead of laughing or blowing kisses, she began to hesitate. She would stop in her tracks, stare, and then back away. Her expressions changed from happy to uneasy. Sometimes, she would cling to Gabby, refusing to go near that part of the house at all. Whatever had once felt familiar to her now seemed to scare her.
Ay, Dios, ahora sí me asusté. ¿Qué pasó? Ay, Rachín. Mira, apunta para allá. ¿Qué, mi amor? Vámonos. ¿Qué, mi amor? ¿Qué hay? ¿Qué pasó? Ven, amor. Ven, amorcito, vente. Venga, mi niña.
Still, Gabby couldn't see anything unusual in her videos. No movement, no figures, no obvious explanation. That was true until one specific clip started getting attention. It was a short, ordinary video of Regina going through her nightly routine. Nothing dramatic, nothing staged, just some mother filming her daughter before bed. Gabby uploaded it without a second thought, but the comments came fast and they all said the same thing. Look at the hallway. When the clip is slowed down, something becomes visible. Near the hallway, inside a partially open closet, a dark shape moves across the frame. It happens quickly, just a split second, but it's there. A shadowy figure slips past, partially obscured, then disappears. What makes it worse is Regina's reaction. She points directly toward the spot where the movement occurs. At that moment, Gabby was alone in the house with her daughter. No visitors, no family members, no one who could have walked through the frame. Startled, Gabby checked the closet immediately after filming. It was empty, no one was there. Viewers became convinced this was the same presence Regina had been reacting to for years, the same thing she had stared at as a baby, the same thing she played with and now feared. Gabby didn't know what to believe. She didn't want to jump to conclusions, but she also couldn't ignore what was happening. And then another incident made everything worse. In a later video filmed in the kitchen, something appears again. This time, it isn't confined to the hallway. A dark figure moves across the room, passing through the space where Gabby and Regina are standing. It crosses from one side of the frame to the other and vanishes. Once again, neither of them noticed it in real time. It was only after viewers pointed it out that Gabby saw it for herself. Now the questions won't stop. If no one else was home, then what was caught on camera? Why was Regina being drawn to that hallway since she was a baby? And why does she seem afraid of it now? Gabby still doesn't have answers. She continues to record, hoping for clarity or at least understanding. Until then, whatever is hiding in that hallway remains a mystery. The camera records what appears to be a very ordinary and quiet evening. At around 8 at night, the neighborhood street is calm and looks almost sleepy. A man is sitting inside his parked car, leaning comfortably toward the open window to chat casually with a colleague standing on the sidewalk. There is no tension in his posture and absolutely no sign that danger is lurking nearby. Moments like this happen every single day, which is exactly why the events that follow feel so unsettling to watch. Without any warning, a different vehicle arrives and stops abruptly in the middle of the road. Several men step out with a confidence that feels very practiced and cold. One of these individuals immediately chases the collie away, clearing the area with a dark sense of purpose. Another man walks straight to the driver's side door, pulls it open and yanks the driver out as if he owns the entire station. The victim raises his hands high, signaling total cooperation to the attackers. His movements are slow and controlled, which usually suggests a robbery is about to run its course without violence. However, this calm is completely deceptive. In a split second, the balance of power shifts. The man who appeared compliant reacts with sudden and deadly precision. He produces a defensive weapon and fires at a very close range. The exchange happens so fast that it barely registers on the grainy footage, looking like a scene that accidentally skips a frame. The accomplice waiting in the getaway car hears the sound and does not hesitate for a single second. The vehicle speeds off immediately, leaving their partner behind on the pavement without a second thought. For a brief moment, there is pure chaos. The attacker tries to respond, but the outcome of the fight has already been decided. While the cameras do not show the final moments in detail, authorities later confirmed that the individual was found a short distance away and did not survive his injuries. What makes this footage so disturbing is not just the violent confrontation itself, but how quickly overconfidence turns into an irreversible and fatal consequence. A situation that began with total control and certainty collapses in seconds, leaving no space for any reconsideration. The second recording in this batch moves to a completely different setting in an hour. It's roughly 2:30 in the afternoon and the street is bright and active with light traffic and a very relaxed pace. A man exits a local business, crosses the road, and walks toward his parked motorcycle. He adjusts his helmet and prepares to leave, focused only on the routine act of heading out. Nothing about his behavior suggests he senses any danger. Across the street, two men are already watching him like predators. One pretends to be on a phone call to blend into the background while the other scans the area, waiting for the exact right moment to strike. They move only when the surroundings feel clear of witnesses. One suspect grabs the motorcycle's handlebar to assert ownership, while the other confronts the rider to force him to give up control. What follows is a very tense struggle where bodies shift and the bike rocks back and forth. Then almost improbably, a municipal civil guard vehicle enters the frame. The timing feels completely unreal. The patrol car stops, officers step out, and the dynamic changes instantly. The suspects raise their hands in surrender. Within moments, the attackers are restrained and escorted away. These videos stay with viewers because they strip away the illusion of predictability in our daily lives. This video comes from a girl named Amy, who explains that one night her younger sister became completely hysterical. The youngster was convinced she saw a stranger standing in the corner of their bathroom.
Where? He's tall? Do you still see him? Is he still in there?
Yeah.
Yeah? You want to show me where? In the shower? Okay.
When Amy went to investigate, the room was empty, but her sister was so visibly shaken that Amy began to feel a deep sense of dread. She knew the youngster wasn't lying. A few nights later, Amy was staring at the same bathroom door and decided to start recording. I feel terrible for Amy because having to protect a young one from something you can't even see is a true nightmare. This is why I never like leaving the bathroom door open at night. In this video, you can see Amy's sister fast asleep in the bed they share, totally unaware of the camera.
That literally fell from up there.
Suddenly, the smoke detector on the ceiling just drops to the floor right in front of the mirror. But that isn't even the scariest part. In the reflection, you can see Amy's comforter slowly begin to shift and peel back, almost as if an invisible hand is pulling the blanket off the sleeping youngster. There is nobody else in the room and no one near the bed. It's a somber and chilling sight to see the fabric move on its own with such a steady, purposeful motion. Amy was terrified to her core by what she captured that night. It makes you wonder if the figure her sister saw had actually returned to their bedroom. There is no logical explanation for how a heavy comforter could lift itself into the air like that. It is a haunting mystery that remains unexplained. I'd never be able to sleep in that room again after witnessing such a disturbing event. What do you make of this? Let me know in the comments. The security footage from Osasco, located in the metropolitan region of Sao Paulo, serves as a chilling reminder how easily criminal preparation can dissolve in a heartbeat. These are not moments of random impulse. Each scene displays a high level of deliberate planning and careful timing. The individuals involved clearly believed everything would unfold exactly as they expected. What makes these recordings so disturbing is how that confidence completely collapses when it meets someone who is equally alert. The first incident occurs late in the morning, around 11 a.m. A man arrives at a local restaurant on a motorcycle wearing a red delivery jacket. This is a common sight in the city, allowing him to blend in perfectly. However, beneath the jacket, he is wearing protective gear, which suggests he was prepared for a violent encounter rather than a simple intimidation. He walks inside with his helmet still on, casually acting the part of a courier. To any youngster or bystander watching, it looks completely harmless. Then his posture shifts. His hand moves with dark intent as he begins to draw a weapon to announce a robbery. What he fails to realize is that one of the customers seated just a few feet away is an off-duty civil police officer. The officer recognizes the threat immediately. There is no hesitation or confusion in his movements. The response is fast, controlled, and decisive, ending the confrontation almost as soon as it begins. During the exchange, the officer's 27-year-old son, who was working nearby, is struck in the thigh by a stray bullet. The attacker also survived the encounter and was taken to the hospital in stable condition. When authorities searched him, they found a collection of stolen wedding rings, jewelry, cash, and phones. The video is unsettling because it shows how a carefully crafted disguise can unravel the instant a trained professional enters the room. The second video shifts to a high-risk roadway ambush. A group of criminals targets a vehicle using a very familiar and aggressive tactic. They overtake the car, slam on their brakes, and jump out with weapons drawn, expecting the driver to be frozen by shock. However, this driver identifies the danger before the attackers are even in position. Instead of panicking, he stops his car, opens a door, and responds immediately. This sudden reversal of roles throws the gang into total disarray. Most of them flee without looking back. While one does not escape the encounter, it is a somber reminder that awareness measured in mere seconds can alter the outcome of a situation that was meant to be one-sided. The third incident is perhaps the most disturbing because it was built on long-term surveillance. A group had been studying the daily routines of police officers who frequent a specific gym. They gathered details about their schedules and habits, planning an organized hit. One of the suspects had even been arrested just a year prior and was already back on the streets. However, they failed to account for an additional officer in the area. When the attack begins, the footage captures how quickly their control slips away. One attacker even drops his weapon while trying to retreat. In that moment, unexpected backup appears, and the dynamic changes instantly. One attacker did not survive while the others escaped with injuries. None of the officers were seriously harmed. These recordings show that even the most detailed criminal plans can collapse when a single unknown factor enters the equation. This clip left many outraged, and you'll soon see why. A few adolescents intentionally struck an elderly woman who was simply on her way home. According to surveillance camera evidence from Indonesia, her situation is critical, and she is currently in the hospital. I apologize, there isn't a joke. What those teenagers on scooters did is neither amusing nor cool, and I genuinely hope that the full law book is applied to them. This happened on November 1st, 2024. A man entered the Springboro, Ohio Police Department with a very specific goal in mind. He requested an immediate audience with the chief of police. Initially, the encounter seemed like any other daily interaction at a front desk. Citizens frequently visit stations to handle paperwork or ask simple questions. The body camera footage depicts a man who seems annoyed but is still holding himself together, clearly expecting a meeting rather than a fight. However, the mood in the lobby shifts the second he learns the chief is out of the office. His voice gets louder and his requests turn into aggressive demands. The officers try to speak to him with a calm pace, suggesting he leave a message or come back later, but he refuses to listen. He steps toward the officers and ignores direct orders to keep his hands out of his pockets. The air in the room becomes heavy with tension.
Gonna get the chief.
Did you hear what I said?
Did you hear what I said?
I'm gonna give you one more chance to listen.
Get
If you
the
want,
chief.
if you want help,
Get the chief.
you need to
Get
leave.
the chief.
Leave.
Get the chief.
We'll sit here all day.
Get the chief. You can either do it or I'll find you.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I will.
Back up. Get your hands out of your pockets.
No.
What makes this video so disturbing is how rapidly the interaction falls apart. In the man's mind, he is being disrespected and ignored by the authorities. To him, this isn't a scheduling conflict. It is a sign that the system is working against him. The officers try to follow their training by giving clear warnings to prevent the situation from getting worse. They tell him he is welcome to stay as long as he remains peaceful. The choice is his, but he refuses to take the path of de-escalation. As the officers move in to restrain him, the scene becomes a chaotic struggle. One officer shouts for a taser as a man fights against being handcuffed. It is a somber sight to see someone turn a simple argument into a physical battle. Once he is finally secured, the energy in the room changes, the officer's breathing slows down, and one of them asks a very simple question: what is going on today? For the first time since he walked through the doors, the man explains his side of the story. He reveals that he was pulled over the previous day and cited for speeding and not wearing his seatbelt. He is adamant that he was wearing the belt and believes the patrol officer was lying. That single belief is the emotional heart of this entire disaster.
Okay, yesterday I got pulled over and was issued a ticket for speeding on Pioneer and no seatbelt. I was wearing a seatbelt. The officer lied. That's why I'm here.
That belief is the... This man did not wake up wanting to go to jail. He woke up wanting to be heard. He wanted the chief to admit that an injustice had occurred, but instead of following the legal process of making an appointment, he showed up expecting immediate results. When he didn't get his way, his anger took over his judgment. The officers explained that a chief cannot simply delete a ticket. These issues must be settled in a courtroom. It is a reasonable explanation, but it comes far too late to stop the arrest that has already begun. The conversation continues to swing back and forth between calm talking and fresh arguments. The footage shows a powerful contrast. When officers speak with respect, the man calms down, but when commands are barked, he pushes back. Despite the late attempts to lower the tension, the officers cannot ignore the physical struggle that just happened. They follow their procedures, photographing minor scrapes and documenting every step of the arrest. The man continues to insist he is right, refusing to back down even as he is being led away. By the end of the day, Chris Young was charged with 4 felonies and a misdemeanor, including assault and obstructing official business. What started as a complaint over a small traffic fine has now turned into a life-altering legal nightmare. This video is deeply unsettling because it feels so familiar to anyone who has ever felt frustrated by a system. It shows how easily a person can let their emotions override their logic, turning a minor problem into a massive tragedy. It captures the hard truth that the way we choose to communicate, especially when we feel wrong, determines the outcome of our lives. I feel terrible for everyone involved because this doesn't have to happen. This is why I always tell people to take a breath before they act on their anger. In this case, a seatbelt ticket became a felony record, all because a man allowed his rage to lead the way. It is a somber reminder to keep your cool. On June 26th, 2025, Fuzzy Dog Productions released what started as another one of their signature travel vlogs, full of lighthearted moments, playful dogs, good music, and the promise of a relaxing camping trip. This time, they were headed to Sweetwater Campground in Brewster, Massachusetts. But what began as a typical adventure quickly took a strange and unexpected turn. The couple set out around 7 p.m., hoping to make the 3-hour drive to Cape Cod and wake up at the site, ready to enjoy the outdoors. On paper, it was the perfect plan. In reality, navigating the campground in the dark proved tricky. With narrow roads, poor signage, and one wrong turn after another, they found themselves in the wrong part of the site before eventually locating their designated spot. A bit frazzled, but still in good spirits, they set up camp, unaware of the strange events the night had in store.
Coming in here was no joke. The roads were really narrow. The signage is pretty poor, especially at night. I mean, that's kind of our choice though. I mean, we found it, but we had to do this huge loop through the C section where we were supposed to be in the A section, and the A section was just honestly a quick left that we missed. So user error as always. I mean, what are you gonna do? But we're here, we made it, starting fire, gonna chill out. So we really drove 2.5, almost 3 hours to find lobster rolls. And that's what we're going after. We're looking forward to it tomorrow. It's gonna be a great day.
The site itself was exactly what they'd hoped for, wooded, peaceful, and remote enough to feel like a real escape. After building a fire and settling in, the evening unfolded just as planned, with laughter, music, and the comfort being out in nature. But the next morning brought an unsettling discovery. Around 5 a.m., while everyone was still asleep, someone had quietly entered their campsite and gone through their belongings. At first, the signs were subtle. Nothing appeared obviously disturbed. Then they noticed the liquor. All their premium bottles were gone. In their place sat off-brand alcohol they didn't recognize. This wasn't just a theft. It was a deliberate swap. Whoever did it hadn't acted on impulse. They came prepared, bringing cheaper replacements to cover their tracks. The realization was unnerving. Someone had been close enough, quiet enough, and bold enough to carry out a planned exchange while they slept just feet away.
You might have taken more, I don't know.
Wow.
That's crazy. We got robbed.
Why didn't you take the Annie's mac and cheese?
Is this the Drambuie thing? I bet it is, right?
Morning. We had a guy walk through here probably about 5 in the morning. The dog was starting to bark. We don't know how long he was here, and he stole all our booze. Literally went through the back of Luna, took the Drambuie for the recommended drink, and just kept walking. Wow, lesson learned. Not only did he take our good stuff, he left us stuff. We're definitely a little shocked that this guy went through all of our stuff. This lady here, Mrs. Fuzzy Dog, she's just pissed.
Their mood quickly shifted from relaxed to uneasy. There were no signs of forced entry, no damage, and no real clues. Just the strange swap of liquor bottles. What disturbed them most wasn't the loss, but the thought that someone had been that close for who knows how long, without ever being seen or heard. Even their dog's early morning bark, something they'd brushed off at the time, now felt like a warning they hadn't understood. Still, they chose to push forward with their trip, determined not to let the strange encounter ruin everything. They carried on and even managed to have some fun, launching into an informal hunt for the best lobster roll on the Cape. The food, rich and comforting, became a welcome distraction, offering a sense of normalcy in contrast to the eerie events of the night before.
We are leaving this place. This place is beautiful. It's huge. It's heavily wooded, so we feel like we're in the woods, which is really exciting, especially after the morning. But we're going to forget about that morning. We're going to go get lobster rolls. We're going to go get booze. I don't know. We're going to go find an adventure. Get these dogs for a long walk, probably at one of the state parks out here on the Cape. Let's go.
Back at the campground, the strange liquor swap still weighed on their minds. Who had come into their sight? Why go through the trouble of replacing the bottles instead of just taking them? And what if someone had woken up while it was happening? These unanswered questions stirred an uneasy feeling that lingered well into the evening, a quiet discomfort that came with knowing their space had been invaded while they slept. The video closes with a couple retreating to their camper for the night, unable to mix their usual drinks, but making do with what they had. It's a subtle, unsettling reminder that even in the most peaceful settings, the unexpected can still find you. Sweetwater Campground may have offered quiet beauty, but this trip ended with more questions than closure, in a story they won't soon forget. Just before sunrise on December 17, 2023, a calm residential block in the Pleasant Grove area of Dallas became the scene of a terrifying ordeal that would leave a lasting mark on one family's sense of security. It was around 6:30 a.m., the kind of quiet hour when neighborhoods are still half asleep, when Pam Miller was inside her home preparing for another routine workday. Nothing about the morning suggested danger. That sense of normalcy shattered the moment her home security alarm began blaring. At first, the noise caused confusion more than fear. Alarms malfunctioned sometimes, but within seconds, the situation escalated into something unmistakably real. A man kicked open the front door of her house with enough force to set off the alarm system. He fled almost immediately, disappearing from view, only to return moments later. This time, his movements were deliberate. It was as if he were testing the boundaries of the home, gauging how much resistance he might face. Pam didn't have time to think through options. She reacted on instinct. She moved quickly toward her bedroom, locked the door behind her, and then retreated further into the bathroom. It became the final barrier between herself and the intruder. With trembling hands but a clear mind, she called 911. As the dispatcher spoke to her, she could hear the sounds of the man pushing deeper into the house. Doors were being forced. The space she had always considered safe was being violated in real time. Later, Pam described her thoughts in those moments as simple and terrifying. She did not want to harm anyone. She had never imagined herself in a situation where she might need to defend her life, but the reality was unavoidable. Survival became the only priority.
Basically, I was just going to do whatever it took for me to survive. You know, you never really want to take anyone's life, but it was either going to be him or me.
Security footage from inside the house shows the intruder smashing through the locked bedroom door and moving toward the bathroom. He positioned himself and began kicking at the bathroom door, trying to force it open. With nowhere else to retreat and no certainty that help would arrive in time, Pam fired a single shot through the center of the closed door. Investigators later explained that the man's forward movement may have shifted his body just enough to the side to avoid being struck. The bullet did not hit him, but it did what it needed to do. The sound and shock of the gunfire caused the intruder ordered to retreat. He fled the house, escaping with a wedding ring and some cash. What he left behind was far more devastating. From that moment on, Pam's sense of safety was gone. After that morning, silence felt threatening. Every unfamiliar sound carried weight. A creaking floorboard or a distant noise outside could send her heart racing. The idea that someone had been inside her home, inches away from her final hiding place, lingered constantly. The house itself felt different, as if it could no longer offer protection on its own. What makes this case even more disturbing is that the story didn't end with that escape. Just after midnight on Christmas morning, December 25th, 2023, police believe the same individual broke into another home only a few blocks away. This time, the house belonged to a mother and her children, all of whom were asleep inside. Interior security cameras captured what happened next, and the footage is chilling in its calmness. The intruder moved through the house slowly and confidently, as if he had every right to be there. He picked up a purse. He walked from room to room, pausing occasionally to look around. At one point, he attempted to remove a television mounted on a living room wall. He wrapped his hands in clothing and towels, possibly trying to avoid leaving fingerprints or DNA. When the television wouldn't come loose, he simply gave up and continued exploring. The most unsettling part isn't what he took, it's how long he stayed. Nearly 15 minutes passed before he finally left the home. During that entire time, no one woke up. The children slept through it. The mother had no idea someone was walking through her house in the middle of the night. The difference between that incident and an unimaginable tragedy came down to nothing more than chance. For both families, the psychological aftermath lasted far longer than the intrusions themselves. Pam and her family reinforced their doors, installed additional cameras, and upgraded their security system. These changes brought a measure of reassurance, but they couldn't erase the memory of that morning, knowing that the same person could return to the neighborhood. Even after nearly being confronted, made the threat feel ongoing and unpredictable. Pam's personal background adds another dimension to the story. She is a former Army Reserve specialist and had recently spent time training at a shooting range with her husband. She believes that preparation played a role in her ability to remain calm enough to act under pressure. Still, she has been clear that she never wanted to be placed in that position. Her story is not a call to violence or fear. It is a reminder of awareness. People don't prepare to protect themselves because they want conflict. They do it because they can no longer assume safety is guaranteed. Dallas police have not released a description of the suspect, which only adds to the unease. The man seen on camera appears unfazed by alarms, cameras, or even the possibility that people are inside the homes he enters. That confidence, combined with his willingness to return to the same neighborhood after nearly facing deadly consequences, is what makes this footage so deeply unsettling. This story stays with people because it exposes how fragile the idea of safety truly is. It shows how quickly an ordinary morning can turn into a fight for survival. It also shows that danger doesn't always disappear after being challenged. Sometimes it simply moves on, waiting for another door to open. This is not a story about victory or revenge. It's about the thin line between comfort and fear, and how easily that line can be crossed when someone decides that a locked door no longer means anything at all. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.